Many people talk about the ups and downs of married life, but no one really prepares you for life after your spouse passes away. Welcome to Widowhood Real Talk with Tina, a safe place for widows, widowers, and their friends and family to talk about love and loss. Find comfort as you listen to honest conversations between Tina and invited guests who've experienced the loss of their forever partner. Share their stories of love, grief, and healing. You are not alone in this journey. Join today's episode and discover a wealth of resources and learn how to connect with others who are traveling the same path. This is Widowhood Real Talk with Tina.
Hello, Francisco. Welcome to the Widowhood.
Hello, Tina. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for being here. I want to tell you, for whatever reason in our world, we don't get a lot of men willing to share about their journey, but we have a lot of male listeners. So I appreciate you being here and showing up for them. And for any of the men that are listening, if you are interested in sharing your journey, or maybe you know a gentleman that is, please have them contact me. My email address is widowhoodrealtalk@gmail.com. So, Francisco, where are you from originally?
I'm from Spain. I was born and raised in Barcelona. And life brought me to many places around the world. And currently, I'm based in Cincinnati, Ohio.
I mean, wow, Barcelona. I mean, what does that look like in compared to Cincinnati, Ohio?
Totally different. And one of the things that really took me some time to get used to is the eating schedules. There in Barcelona, we have lunch around 1:30 to even 3 in the afternoon. We have dinner no sooner than 9 in the evening. It's different type of life. Also, there is a big city. It's a very international city. A lot of tourists, a lot of history. And Cincinnati is much more wider. I love being here, but yeah, that will be the main differences.
Your first meal, it's all about the food for me. So hold on. First meal at 1 p.m. Is that what you just said?
1:30.
Oh, later then. Okay.
Yeah.
So what time does your day start generally? Or what time did your day start when you were in Barcelona?
So when I used to work there, I was working at the university I was in grad school. I was working as what here in US you would call a TA, and also doing my research. So I always try to avoid the rush hour because I had to travel for almost 1 hour in the subway. And if I did that at 7 in the morning, it was extremely packed and very unpleasant. So I used to have a delayed schedule. I used to work from 9:30 or 10 in the morning until 8 in the evening, just to avoid rush hour in the morning and rush hour in the evening.
So what time did you literally, on an average, your eyes open and start moving for the day?
Back then, I I was extremely energized. I would wake up. I'm getting older, as you can see.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me make sure that you know that. Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah, no, life there it was different, very, very different. So I used to wake up around 7 in the morning, but I could go to bed around 3, 4 in the morning. I was
Oh, you were
fully
young,
functional.
is what you were.
Yeah, exactly. I was fully functional till very late. I would just come back home around 9 in the evening, then hang out with friends, go out for dinner, or just simply stay up and be reading or studying, watching TV. Yeah, that life was different. Now, when I look back, it's like, oh, what happened? Now, yes, I'm not falling back. I'm falling asleep at 10 in the night.
I was just about to say, imagine if you had a routine now where you were having to stay up as late as you did and then get up like that.
No, no,
Quickly, no.
no. I would need at least 6 more coffees than I normally have
And
in the
for
morning
the record, you said you had two. And
already.
when some people hear the word coffee, what do you think they're hearing versus what you're drinking?
I drink the smallest size of coffee, espresso, very, very strong one. I buy always Italian coffee.
And so the potency of that in comparison to probably this cup that I'm drinking, what does that look like?
much stronger. I mean, a cup like this size is much more caffeine than probably what you can have in a big coffee mug.
So why is that for someone that's not a coffee drinker to try to understand why that's going to be more caffeinated than a larger cup?
It's more concentrated, so you have a much higher concentration. I mean, I understand the point of drinking large coffees. When I was living in Spain, I found no point. What's the point of drinking a half gallon of coffee? So I didn't understand that. But then, when I moved, life brought me to Germany.
Oh, okay.
Germany is also very cold weather. Then having something warm in your hands, it's always very, very nice and comforting. So then I also started drinking larger coffee, but mostly just to keep my hands warm.
Okay.
I still do it right now. I mean, I'm totally used. I'm versatile. I drink short coffee at home. I drink half gallon coffee at work.
Hold on. How much coffee are you having a day on average?
Probably too much. Maybe five seats. Yeah.
What is the latest you can have coffee in a day?
When I was living in Spain, I could even have coffee before going to bed.
I don't even understand that. And I hear so many people. If I okay now though, what's the latest you can have coffee?
How many?
Right, you said when you were in Spain, you could
Hmm.
have coffee just before going to bed.
Hmm.
Right now, this version of you, what is the latest you can have coffee?
No, I could even have coffee before going to bed. I can fall asleep even here on the floor. I don't have any problem sleeping.
Oh my
So,
gosh. I personally, if I have coffee, let's say after 3 p.m., it's going to be a
hmm,
long night for me. I better be having a lot of projects to do because it's not going to be cool.
hmm.
It's
Oh
not going to be cool at all.
no, for me it keeps me awake, but it's not like a makes stops me from falling asleep. It's a weird
Okay.
feeling. So I mean,
So I have to ask a couple more questions. Do you have a favorite coffee blend or bean type or brand?
I always buy Lavazza Italian coffee.
Oh, oh, where is there a specific place to get that?
I buy it in Amazon. So I
Oh,
buy like
okay.
a package with a box with 20 bricks of coffee. So
Oh,
that's enough for a week. No,
you
it's enough for several months.
you said bricks, not like fresh ground beans. So it's coming concentrated.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
already grounded and it's packing vacuum.
okay. One fine. Well, I'm
So
not gonna say fine. I may come back. When you tell someone you're from Spain or Barcelona, what do you think they envision versus what you know?
I mean, that's a very good question. I never thought about. I should
Oh,
start.
okay.
I should start asking around. What do you think about Spain or
I
Barcelona?
I think I think of some place where family is strong. There's a huge connection to your lineage and pride in your country and soccer or football, as you may say there.
Football, yeah.
I'm
We
sorry,
call
I can't even say football. Let me say it correct. That's what comes to mind. I should have said football first,
yeah.
but in all those things is what comes to mind, and I think yeah, those are the things that come to mind, and just rich landscape.
Ah, that's neat. I think that most people think about the same. It's like old city that it's in Europe, and it's
Hmm.
like Gaudi, the old architecture that all the buildings that he built there are like Sagrada Familia. That's one of the first things that people say.
Okay.
And also the beach and good weather. Even though last time I was there, it was raining, raining, and raining all the time. Well,
Oh,
it was sunny here, but that was an exception.
I'm about to say, who would think Ohio was kicking it over? Yeah, that's like
Yeah,
what?
Ohio is a new place to for your vacation.
So you said you have traveled a lot. What are some of the favorite places that you've traveled to?
I would get bits and pieces of every place I've been living. I live in Barcelona for most of my life. I also studied one semester abroad in the Netherlands. When I was in grad school, I spent also a few months in France. And then when I finished grad school, I moved to Germany, where I lived for 5 years and a half before coming to US.
Okay.
And
What,
then
what,
in US, I've been living in Chicago, New Jersey, and
hold
now
on, hold on. Say it
Cincinnati.
again. Chicago. That's where I'm born and raised. Yes.
Oh, I used to live in Oak Park.
Oh, okay. I have family that lives in that
Ah,
area and friends from high school. Okay, I'm sorry.
nice.
Go keep going. You
Really.
said Chicago. I just like lost it. Go ahead.
So I always mention my favorite city in US is Chicago by far.
Come on,
So
come on.
I always say that it's a perfect balance of beautiful architecture, beautiful landscape. The weather is, of course, is cold,
Oh, it's
but
brutal.
it's only in winter. Summers are gorgeous there by the lake.
Right.
It's gorgeous. But I had to learn when I was in Chicago back then. I know the railing. I used
Oh
to
no, no.
work.
This is whole conversation. Go ahead.
I used to wear contact lenses back then. I had LASIK last year, so now I can
Oh,
see.
I have LASIK too.
Ah,
Okay.
wow.
Yeah.
The best decision I made. But again, I don't want to recommend anyone. It's just for me. So
Okay, hold on, hold on. We're gonna go back to the Chicago code.
sorry.
Oh
Yeah.
no, but the LASIK. m- My late husband and I both had LASIK eye surgery.
Hmm.
He had it done before me, and I remember the way they had it set up. When he was having the procedure, my children and I were in the waiting room, and
Hmm.
we could see them open his eye with clamps and hold it open.
Hmm.
And he had a really bad back from being in the military.
Hmm.
And he was like, now you say the word pain, I'm probably crying already. He was
Hmm.
like, I never really heard him complain about pain unless it had something to do with his back.
Hmm.
And he was squirming and everything was going on. I was like, what are they doing? Like, I thought the clamping of the eye was causing him great discomfort, but it was his position on the table
Ah, the back.
that was
Oh.
hurting him. And but when they clamped his eye open, I was like, and I was scheduled to get it next. I was like,
Nope.
I don't know if I'm doing that. Ooh. And so he came home, he had the glasses, and within a day or so, he was able to see without any type of glasses or contact lens. So I was like, okay, it wasn't that bad. And then he explained to me what was going on with his back on the table, and that reduced my fear.
Hmm.
On whatever the time in between, I went in there. What he didn't tell me is when the clamping of the eye, zero pain because they
Hmm.
give you,
They
they
numb
give
your
you,
eyes.
yeah, and they did all of that and have to be still. They had had some braces on the side of my head
Hmm.
so I could be still, but no one prepared me for the smell.
Hmm.
I'm going to
Yep.
leave it at that. And now I want you to tell me what your smell was like in your experience of the laces.
I'm lucky in this sense. My sense of smell is not that good. So
Mm,
at that point, I was thankful because I read about that before
okay.
and I could feel it. But I was so excited about being able to see that it didn't bother me. But I could feel some of the smell. Yeah.
And so when you say feel, it smelled like burning flesh. It
Hmm.
smelled, at first it started to smell like bacon. I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. And then I was like, oh my gosh, they are burning my eye. And I was like, be still, Tina, be still. But it was awful.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I wasn't like that. Ooh, I was not ready for that at all. And I could feel all of that. My sense of smell was very acute. And I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that was
Yeah.
horrible. So Chicago's
Oh, yeah.
and contact lenses. See, I
Yeah.
remembered. I kept us there.
Come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember I had to learn how to blink because it was no. I'm serious. I'm serious
I
because
know.
it gets so cold there that the contact lenses start to freeze in your eye. It's a weird feeling I never had experience before. So I remember I was all the way like this, like it was. Also, I remember I had to dry my beard very, very, very carefully before leaving home because it would freeze. I would just find chunks of ice in my face.
You are 100% accurate, and I laugh because when people talk about they're going to Chicago and it's the winter time, and I'm like, well, where are you from originally? Because I want to know what their appetite is for very frigid weather, and sometimes they're packing light. I'm like, you're gonna need a bigger coat than that.
Mm,
You're gonna need like if you have not been to Chicago and you've been someplace where it's warm all the time and you're bringing like your what you think is your heavy
mm,
gear for that, that's fall. that is not winter. And people, everyone wants to go downtown Chicago, see the Bean,
Mm.
there's so much good food and things like that. But when you come downtown near that lakefront and you come around a building, that's why they
Mm-hmm.
call it the Hawk or the Windy City.
Yep.
That wind will come and snatch you. It is a
Mm.
lot. I remember growing up there, and we in high school you had to catch city transportation. There wasn't a bus coming to your house, so there was a good amount of ways to walk to the bus stop. Before I remember coming out the house, the snow was like up to my knees.
Mm-hmm.
School was still going on. You needed to get yourself there. We were having to shovel ourselves out of
Yep.
the house because my dad was at work already, and then get dressed and then make it there and be on time. Like there was no copping out on that.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't know about the concept of a snow day till I moved to Chicago. So
Very true.
I never had it. I mean, I can't even tell you, even remember the 3 times I saw snow in Barcelona.
Oh, so
So
what was it? Wow. Okay.
nothing compared to Chicago. Chicago, nothing.
You talked about being in school, but what was your major? We didn't discuss that.
I'm a chemical engineer, and
Oh, okay.
I did a PhD in computational chemistry.
O- Okay. When you were going to school, what type of career did you foresee for yourself?
So I wanted to be a professor, actually.
Oh, so working at the university,
I
that was in
I
line with what? Okay.
Exactly. That's why I was working in several universities, but at some point I felt burned out of being the university, and I decided just to move forward
Okay.
and find a new job at in the private sector, which I think is
Okay.
the best decision I ever made.
Okay. Well, that's cool because when I started my undergrad, I was past the traditional college age. And it made me think leaving out of high school, which is 12th grade here. No, I'm
Mm.
sorry, 14, 12, 13, 14, 6, yeah, 6.
18?
Leaving out of
No,
house,
yeah.
high school, no, 16, right? I'm sorry, I got it wrong.
Mm,
Graduating from high school. See, I'm 58. That's so far,
mm,
what I don't even remember. When you graduate from high school and then have the concept to go right into college for a career you're going to study for the rest of your life, I don't even know how you
mm,
have a concept of what you want. I'm starting to become
mm.
more, I'm sorry, I should say, it's made me appreciate the concept of a gap year to kind of live
Yep,
life and do something. What do you think of that?
I agree. Sometimes I was talking about this the other day with friends. It's weird because where I'm right now is because of a decision I made when I was 17. So,
And what
so
did 17-year-old you know at that point compared to
it,
now?
exactly. So I decided to study chemical engineering because I liked chemistry and I liked mathematics. I didn't want to work in a lab. So,
Oh, okay.
so I thought, oh, chemical engineering seems to be like the perfect match.
Okay.
So,
Okay. That's cool. And that is important. So for anybody that's listening, if you feel like going into college right away is too much, I didn't say that, but talk to whoever's funding your
hmm,
endeavor and maybe talk to them and just have a real talk about the
hmm,
situation and then see
yeah.
where it goes from there.
So don't be scared of of realizing that you don't like what you are doing. Don't be scared. It's okay to drop school or to change a minor or major. It's okay.
I also believe, to add to that, if all possible, try to have a part-time job in the field in which you plan to major in, because
Hmm,
those first 2 years can really just be some very basic courses,
yep.
but you think you're going to be an accountant.
Hmm,
Then try to get a part-time job at a tax firm or an accounting, because once you get into that third year, you kind of start having courses that may not be transferable to
hmm,
another career field. So if you're able to do that in your first and second year, it can either incentivize you to that this
hmm.
is a good path to go on, or maybe make you think maybe this is a time to pivot. But having that real life experience is very helpful.
No, I totally agree. What I can tell you now is that I made the right decision. Even though I was the 17 years old me, 18 years old me made the right decision. So
So
thank you.
17-year-old you knew a lot.
So yeah,
You said thank you to the 17-year-old you.
thank you to myself in the past.
Exactly. So, in all of this relocating and moving, what did dating look like for you?
What did? Sorry.
I said, in all of the relocating and moving, what did dating look like for you?
It was sort of complicated in the way that it was not only the relocating, it was like being in grad school. You are in office or in your lab for so long
Oh,
days. So
okay.
I mean, I told you like before, like with ballpark estimate 9:30, 10 in the morning till 8. But there were times I would just stay in my office till 10 or come back home and be working till 2 or 3 in the morning.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was complicated. I mean, back then I remember I had a girlfriend, and I met her literally 1 week before moving to France for 4 months. And I told her right away, I'm moving to France in next week. So are you ready for? And then she said yes, and she moved with me to Germany. But after 3 years, she really felt extremely homesick of Spain and family, and she could not take it anymore. So I understand. She, yeah, she just decided to say that she asked me, "Can you find a job in Spain?" I said, "Now with the crisis, it's virtually impossible, and this is my career now, and I understand what you say, but yep." So
In
that
long
was it.
distance dating and being, there's a lot to be said. And thank you for sharing that. There's a lot to be said from not being in your home country, different than like being in a different region of,
Mhm.
but the ability to, if family is, if that core part of your life, to operate without them. So I can see that. I can see that
Yeah,
a lot.
I agree, but now we have this, and this is actually extremely helpful. When I moved abroad 20 years ago for the first time, there were cell phones, but international calls were very expensive. So I
Oh
remember
my
having
gosh.
to buy like a card that they had to
Yes.
scratch and then write a very
That
long
long number.
number,
Just thinking you
and
could
then
have scanned that now. It's like,
no, no,
wow.
no. Yeah, entirely. So then it was like I would even tell my parents, "Be by your phone at this time in the night, because otherwise I'm not gonna be even able to call you later." So it was
Mm.
different back then, and things now are different. I mean, I can call my family and friends in Spain whenever I want,
When
literally.
I w-
So.
and I can relate to that. I was in the army and I was stationed in Korea. And my late husband, we were dating and had to be by the phone, tell me, and he would call at this certain time. I was going back over some things and I have some of our original telephone bills and looking
Mm,
at the cost of that. And I'm like, that could have been so much cheaper if that was now on a cell
mm.
phone.
Yep, and as I remember, I am paying for each text message that you send, so I had to be very, very careful too.
Oh my gosh. Well, this was like 84. I mean, I was by a K phone. It wasn't even cell
Yeah.
phone was not on the well, maybe the cell phone's the big bag, but
Oh yeah.
it wasn't what we see now. So after the girlfriend, what else did dating look like for you?
So then it's when I re-engage with my wife, actually. So maybe I should now jump back to grad school times.
Okay.
So I met my wife in 2007, even before
Her name?
Audra.
Audra?
Audra.
Okay.
Audra.
Oh, Audra. Okay. No, I was thinking of L. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
no
No,
problem.
2007 you met Audra.
Yeah, so I was in grad school, and I told you that I used to work for long hours. I also told you that I did my PhD in computational chemistry. So we rely in computers, we rely in electricity. So that day, I remember, was a horrible day. The power went off like so many times. I lost all
Uh,
my files. I lost everything. I said, "Ah, bye. I'm gonna stop for today." So I left around 5, which it was weird back then, leaving that early. So I went to this street in Barcelona that back then it was full of music stores, and that was
mm,
like my therapy. Just going there
oh.
and browse all the new music. I mean, you can see probably from my in my bag some part of my collection.
Like those are albums back there,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, albums and
Oh,
CDs. I have thousands. So so I used to go
hold on.
there
You said
just
how many?
thousands of those. Many of them are still at my parents, so I need to bring them back to US.
Wow. Okay.
So that was my therapy back then. Going to the street and just browse new albums, and I would set myself a limit of I only buy one, not not all of them. So at that day, I broke my rule. I bought two anyway.
How much were
So
they costing on average? Do you recall?
like 12 euros more or less. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, for a CD, 12. I mean, yeah, if it was something very special, 20 euros.
Okay.
But I'm talking 17 years ago. So anyway, so I remember I called one of my friends that I knew that he was potentially in that area, and he told me, yeah, actually 2 streets away, because he used to do the same as me, also to go. So then we went to a bar in that street. That was around 6 in the evening. That's very early in Spain to go to be the bar. It's normally people are
Okay.
still working. So we were there just chatting, and then suddenly we see this group of loud Americans coming in, super loud, and one of them didn't see that there was like a small flight of stairs, and she fell like on the table, and we went to her. Are you okay? Are you okay? So yeah, yeah, I almost fell. I didn't see this. So then there, no one could understand them. So no one could understand speak any single word of English. So then my friend and I, we step in, and then we engage with them, just translating everything that they needed. So that's how I met my wife in 2007.
Oh, she was the one that fell?
She was the one that fell, yeah. And we were laughing, and then I remember that she always asked me, "Were you were laughing because I fell?" I always told her, "No, no, no." And then I confessed at the end, I said, "Yeah, I was laughing because you fell, you trip and fell." So
Was she having a little bit too much to drink, really, or did she really not see it? What did you find out
uh,
later?
later on, I found that it was just she didn't see.
Okay.
so
Okay.
so yeah, so we were just hanging out with that group of friends, and we saw again the day after, and she was there because she was originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin,
Hmm.
and she was spending one semester in Paris with in a exchange student program from the University of Wisconsin Milwaukee with some college in Paris, and she studied accounting and finances. She went to she was your people. So then at the end of that semester, that group decided to travel to Barcelona by train. So then she decided to join them one day before, because she said, I want to stay in Paris and then fly back to Milwaukee. But then she said, no, screw it. I go to Barcelona. I'm going to see how this looked like. And she decided the last minute to go there. So then is when we met back in 2007. Uh, at that time, I was coming out from a previous relation, and she was also coming from a previous relation. So we didn't do anything. We just exchanged email addresses, just thinking, okay, maybe she will not write anyway. But no, she did actually when she came back, and we became like pal friends for 6 years. So we
Okay.
would,
You really, you really learned a lot about each other over those 6 years.
yep,
And it's in,
by
wow.
email, by email. That's an advantage over text message. That it's like if you write an email, you write a long story. It's not say what's up, how are you doing. It's not like that. So you would just write about your life, about what you are doing. So I mean, it's not that we were writing over and over, but maybe once a year, a couple of times a year, to say Happy New Year or all this. So nothing very like special in this sense.
But hold on, I want to explain because right now, if depending on the age of our listener, the idea of email is
Mm.
not that. This
Yeah,
is similar to writing an entire letter.
letter. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, back in the day, we used to send Christmas emails or letters as far as what happened because, like you said earlier, the ability and cost to use a phone
Mm,
was just too much. So
exactly.
email was one of the easiest ways to communicate over technology and not have a cost associated with each interaction of being able to send something. So to be able to do that, that was huge, just to stay in contact with somebody. I just to be able to understand the importance of that. Like now we send an email, it's like bullets, just want to get it out, da 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 da. This is like a long conversation between people.
Yep. So that's one of the good thing is that you can always go back to them. Well, in a text message, I mean, you can, but it's more difficult to track.
Yes.
And at some point they get deleted. So that's when I met her in 2007. So when we started dating was in 2013.
Okay, wait. How did y'all reconnect? You can't cheat me. I need to know like how we get there though.
No, we were just writing like once a year, maybe at that time in
Mm.
2012, 13, like a Happy New Year, nothing else. And then I broke with my girlfriend in February 2013, just right after my birthday. So
So did
that's
you
when.
guys consider dating online or y'all met in
No,
person?
we were not dating online. So we were like, just I broke with my girlfriend in 2013, my Spanish girlfriend that she moved back to Spain in
So where were you
2013.
in 2013? Where were
I
you
was
living?
living in Germany.
Okay. Oh, the
That's
same one from the 3 years. Okay,
Italy,
that
Italy. So I'm jumping
okay.
back and forth.
No, I'll keep us with the timeline. So
Yeah, it's a complicated
so
timeline. So I was then suddenly living alone in Germany. So I have a lot of friends there, and it was easy to go back home. I was living next to Frankfurt. There's one of the largest airports in the
mm-hmm.
world, so I could just sometimes just decide to I'm gonna spend the weekend with my family. That's fine.
Oh.
So that's something I cannot do now, but back then I did very often. So I was just living there, and then out of the blue, one day in late summer, I got an email from her answering my email that I sent her maybe 1 year before. And then at the end, she asked me, "By the way, are you still with your girlfriend?" And then I say, "No, we broke 6 months ago." And then she replied, "I also broke with my boyfriend also 6 months ago." Sorry, but and then she wrote, "Would you marry me?"
Oh, she just skipped right to the good part.
Everything. She went straight there.
Oh, she's a
So
straight shooter. Okay.
yeah, I think I
She is
said,
my people.
I replied, yes, I see future with with us. So and then she said, I'm serious. And then I say, okay, come to Germany.
You said you
Uh,
came. Okay, if you serious, come for me.
so yeah, we're being goofy saying this, but at some point we reconnected. We were writing back and forth, and we felt that this started like a straight shot, like a something fun. It's actually might work. So then she booked a flight to Germany, and she spent 2 weeks
So
in my
hold
house.
on. What did you think when she said, "I have a flight and I'm coming to Germany"? Like, what were? Do you remember what your thoughts were,
No,
or
we
what?
were talking about this, and I was like excited to see her and just to know to be with her and see how this would work. And
And if
yeah,
she
we
tripped all the time,
no, I was we were always making fun of that, but she
right?
did.
I bet
No,
you made fun of that forever. Like that was
oh, yeah, no,
forever.
I did. No, we also made fun of the fact that we got engaged by email. So
Right.
that's
Okay. So okay, I needed to
that's a
know.
different story. That's a different
No.
story.
So she comes to the and you pick her up at the airport. What do
Yeah,
you think compared to like this 2007 meeting where things have gone?
that he hadn't changed nothing. She didn't trip
Oh.
that time, but I remember that she was like she suffered of the jet lag very badly. It was 7 hours time difference compared
Mm. And a
to
long flight.
Milwaukee, long flight. So I remember that we arrived home. We went to have lunch at the Italian restaurant around the corner where I was living. She loved it. She was super happy there. And then she said, "I'm going for a nap." And she woke up the day after.
For sure.
Literally, she slept like a straight 12 hours.
Wow.
So she woke up at 3 in the morning, and she asked me, "What can we do now?" And then I said, "I don't know. It's 3 in the morning. There is nothing to do." Say, "Should we go for a walk?" And then we went for a walk in the middle of the night in the city. So that, and then
Mm.
she was like feeling that this is so different than US. You can really walk everywhere, feel safe. It's a beautiful, even though it was December, but
It wasn't Chicago cold though, still,
no,
right? No.
or Milwaukee, where she was from, that is even
Right.
even worse. So then we at the end of that visit, we said we need to see again, and we fell in love basically during
Mm.
those days together. So we immediately after we planned the next time, and it was 1 month later. I went to US to be with her. It was my first time in US, so I spent 2 weeks also here in US for the first time, and I remember I was planning to spend 10 days. At the end was 2 weeks because there was a blizzard and they closed the
Mm.
airport in Milwaukee, so there was no way to fly back home.
Okay.
So, but that was good. That was very nice 2 weeks. So then, right after that, she came to visit me again in Germany 1 month. I introduced her to my family. Then she came back to Milwaukee. I flew back and I met her family, and we started arranging for a wedding, and we married
Wow.
in June 2014.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. So February 2013, emails you and gets.
No, no, she emailed me in. I broke with my ex girlfriend in February 2013. I She emailed me early September 2013.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's even
Yeah.
shorter. So September 2013, she proposes after not
Yeah,
communicating for a
and then
year, just about.
she came to visit me in December 2013. I
Right.
went to US in January 2014. She came to Germany in March 2014. I went to US April 2014, and we married in June 2014. That would be
10
the
months,
timeline.
10 months later. So
Exactly. So
was there another proposal or anything after
no,
the email?
we were like radical back then and say, "Wow, screw it." We
What
just
did
do.
what did your families think?
And I think they were very happy for me and for us. They really like her. They connected very quickly,
Okay.
even though they don't speak any English. She
Wow.
used to make fun. She used to say, maybe they like me because they don't understand me.
What was the wedding like and where was it?
Was a small wedding. It was in the roof of a hotel downtown Milwaukee. It was a pretty day. There were around 40 guests. So
Okay.
it was a small one, but it was a beautiful one.
Wow. Wow. And so when did you come to the US and not leave? What did that look
Uh,
like?
it's much later. As you can see, there was a lot of traveling. At the beginning was just dating. It was a lot of money spending going back and forth.
Right.
But she was planning to move to Germany and live in Europe. But then is when yeah things started going wrong in terms of health. So
Oh,
she
so very early into the relationship, her
yeah
health.
well 1 2 months later yeah.
Wow. And what did that how and as much as you are comfortable with
Mm.
this part, what did that help change? What was it and how did it look?
So what happened is she was waiting for her passport to be renewed so that she could go travel to Germany as soon as she got her passport. But in in that summer, she burned her hands, 3rd-degree burns,
Hmm.
and they look okay at the beginning, which was not okay, and then at the end, she ended up needing surgery, skin grafts.
Hmm.
And what happened is she caught MRSA,
Okay.
and that really was life changing for everything because she had to go to the hospital to the doctors like very often in US, and I was in Germany. So we were doing the travel back and forth, and at some point we decided maybe it's much better to move to a place that is in the Chicago or Milwaukee area, so that we don't need to do all this traveling back and forth and for the surgeries, because there were like so many surgeries. The skin grafts didn't take well, and the MRSA. She was in very strong IV antibiotics, so it was like, yeah, really, really rough.
Had you heard of MRSA? And thank you for being willing to share this. Had you heard of MRSA or even thinking that there was be an issue with the skin graft? Or you just thinking this would just be something we do and just keep moving on?
I mean, we had to move on together and try to fight and be happy with that. And yeah, we that actually made our relationship strong, much stronger. And
Mm,
what is interesting is that in that time that we were married, but being 1 month together, 1 month apart, 1 month together, back and forth, made our relationship much stronger, which is interesting. So it's what I always say, that long distance relationships have two ends: the real bad that you just break, or the one that makes you stronger, and it made us much stronger. So I learned a lot in that time about health. As I realized that we are not gonna this can happen because you
right.
never expect that to have to deal health live with a health condition, or having to go to the doctor so often, hospitals, surgeries. So that's not what you sign up for at the beginning. But again, in my vows were in sickness and health. So that's we have to do.
I can relate to the long distance. As I mentioned earlier, my late husband and I were in the military, and we dated about 6 months. And then I had orders to go to South Korea,
Mm,
and I was there for a year and a half. The normal tour time is 1 year, but if I extended for 6 months, it gave me the opportunity to pick where I wanted to return to as my
ah,
next duty station. And this is 84, 85. A lot
oh,
of letter writing. I have
mm,
a little um, chest that I kept with all of the letters we wrote over the
mm,
years, and a lot of writing letters and phone calls. Email was not even a thing at that point in time. But to your point, the opportunity to really hear the person and get to know them,
mm.
that 18 months that we were apart, there was the communication level was higher than I
Yeah,
think if we were in each other's presence.
yeah. And another thing, now you treasure those letters because you were apart.
Yes.
If you had been together, of course he would have written letters, but there was not this need to write those many letters. So that's, in a way, it's at that time it was, yeah, yep. So
Yeah.
that's a treasure, and it's something that, because of the distance, now you have. So it's something weird. It's the same. I have all the emails because we were apart. And also, that was 2014, 15. We would spend hours and hours and hours on Skype. If you are sitting with your partner
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're sitting in the couch with your partner watching TV, you are watching TV, just holding hands. You are enjoying maybe a drink. Oh, what do you think of the show? But when you are talking face to face in a computer, you talk. You don't just stay there like, what am I doing? So you talk. So we always later on we said, wow, sometimes we miss to be apart from each other because we used to talk for so long hours, sometimes for 7, 8 hours straight.
So to show you how this
Oh,
is, and so
I record.
there there are tons
Oh,
of
cassettes.
little. So we had two. He had one in the States, and I had one in Korea.
Oh,
And then we would send these back and forth to
oh,
each other to be able to just, I don't feel like we talk this much in person, to your point, but all of these, and I said that one day I'm going to take it someplace and get them converted because it's
yeah.
very, some of them are pretty staticky, but the intentionality to communicate and stay in touch for
Mm,
anyone that is in a long distance relationship or thinking about it, I think what you said is so much easier. They can pick up a cell phone
mhm,
and just have that interaction and to be able to do something. But and then I thought about how what seemed like a random choice for Audra to the last day to make that trip to come there and
Mhm.
going back to decisions we make in our youth that were
Exactly.
awesome. And look what it turned into.
I always think that if that day the power had behaved in my office, I would have stayed in office as a regular Monday till 7, 8,
And
9.
you would have never met her.
Yeah, she would have gone to that bar. She would have fallen. She would have tripped,
And
and no
nobody to translate.
and no one nobody to translate. So probably they would have moved to another place, to Hard Rock Cafe. That was
Wow.
that was 1 block away. So
It is
yeah,
is
it's like
we're
a
one decision making such a difference in our life.
yeah, and you are not aware of that,
Yes,
of how transcendental that's gonna be when that happens. So
exactly.
it's like I look back and say, oh, this, because the decision of what you study, if it's a decision that you make in your youth, but in a way you have time to think about.
Hmm.
But this is something that, yeah, that's just happened.
Wow.
So
So where did things go from the Mercer in her hand, and now you guys making the decision to stay in one place?
yeah, she didn't like going to hospitals in Germany because of the language barrier. She didn't speak any German, and being away from family, friends, that was something that in those times, having to be in the hospital, she preferred to have all the procedures in the US, which I don't blame her at all. So, and so then at some point, we decided in 2016, maybe it's time to just move to US and just be avoid having this back and forth, because it was not a cheap life to go to fly back and forth like relatively often. So that
Okay.
was when we decided to start a new life in Chicago. So
Okay, that's how you got there. Have you ever heard of a place called Garrett's Popcorn?
oh yeah, I have a bucket upstairs.
Oh, right now you have some.
Yeah.
Yes, it is that
Yeah.
good.
No, I go to Chicago relatively often. I have a lot of friends there. I went for a
Okay.
wedding last summer. I went for a conference also in summer. And also the Spanish consulate in the Midwest is in Chicago,
Oh,
across the street from a garage in Michigan Avenue. So
I'll say
so
nothing else, but
it's
you
the
may want to
perfect
check it
location.
out. Yes.
It's the perfect location. Yeah, for all those who don't know about Garrett's, they are the best popcorn in this planet.
So, what is your favorite flavor or combination?
I would say the standard one there. I'm really
The
boring on
Chicago
that.
mix.
The tally.
Yes. I This is an adult conversation. Garrett's popcorn is sex good. Like it is yummy. Like if you've had popcorn, no offense to the Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, you've had that popcorn or any of that holiday tin popcorn. I double dog dare you
Hmm.
to get yourself some Garrett's popcorn. You can order it online. You may, oh my gosh, the shipping. I want to know if your mouth was not pleased. I want to know if you get some Garrett's popcorn and you didn't go, oh, this is good.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
is yummy.
Yeah, even I must confess, last time I went to the Spanish consulate, I had the appointment at 10 in the morning to make sure that Garrett's would be open when I left.
I will make my travel to make sure in the airport. I'm like, will the Garrett's be open while I have time? How does that look? And yeah, and I can't
And
say more
also,
about it.
for those who don't know, next to that Garrett's, there is also the Nutella bar. So they opened when I was
Oh,
living there in 2017. And yeah, so I can tell you that the Spanish consulate is in a prime location.
it is. That's prime real estate. So, how did Audra's health change after 2016? Now you guys are settled here, and where do things go at that point?
It declined. It went worse. The IV antibiotics were like very strong on her. So and so she had serious back pain.
Okay.
So that was like a really bad for her. She had very bad insomnia. She had this chronic back pain that sometimes would keep her in bed,
Hmm.
and the IV antibiotics for so many years, and the MRSA never. It took years to be. But the problem also is that her after several surgeries, the skin grafts never took well, and her right hand was not looking good at all, and that was really bad for her. She didn't feel secure because her hands were like too big. Because of that, they were swollen. You could see like all the scars everywhere, and she always tried to wear long sleeves to cover them. She also have like very baggy sleeves. She was very very self-confident about that, and she was the type of person that she would spend hours with makeup. She had a huge makeup collection, and for her that was very very hard. So it was like very rough to see her like declining in that way, and her self-confidence going down in that way. So
you met this, and I can imagine wanting to redirect people to the beautiful face and them not focus on her hand. And yeah.
And also there were many things that she could not do with her hands anymore. So she lost all the strength, the grip. The things were falling relatively often from her hands. So that was very frustrating for her. And I would just tell her, it's okay. That's fine. If it falls, we can get another glass. It's just a glass of water. It's fine.
Right.
So then, she had more surgeries to try to fix that, and didn't work out well. She was in a lot of pain, and also having all these medications for so long, they also starting affecting her organs. So her kidneys were not in good shape neither. So it was like sad to see her declining in that sense. But at some point, I think she got to realize that okay, it's let's I have to live with this, so let's move forward. And her mood was better in the last year than when she was in all the strong antibiotics and going to doctors back and forth. And at some point, she just said, "I'm just gonna live with this," and she even decided not to go to doctors that often.
What year do you recall where she made that decision?
It was when we moved to Ohio. Also, it helped. It was 2020, so everything was in lockdown. She was terrified of COVID, because she always said, "If I get COVID, I'm gonna die," because her defenses were like so low. I remember being extremely careful when I came back home from buying groceries. I would change all my clothes in the garage and put new clothes and all
Same way. I same concept, and I was living by myself, but I would, and all my siblings would talk about that. We had a basket at the front of the house when you came in. We took everything off and live in different places, having gloves and wiping stuff off, and then taking that. It was a lot of concern in trying to make good health decisions.
Yeah, in her case, she had open wounds on her hands, so she was like very scared of that everything. So and also I can say in the same way that 2020 was a weird year. Is when we moved to Ohio, where I found a new job, and 1 month after we moved here, everything went downhill. There was a lockdown, and so we saw suddenly in a new city where we didn't know absolutely anyone, in a place that we don't know nothing, we don't know anyone, and we cannot even have a social life because there is no everything is social distance. So that was weird. But what I'm thankful, that was the last year that before she passed. I would say I'm thankful for COVID, because thanks to COVID we spend more time together. So
that is true. It kind of brings you back to the why I like you, and how
exactly
to spend time with you is my favorite thing.
So it was like coming back to our roots. It was like spending long time, because at some point there is nothing to watch on TV. So we were talking a lot again, and I was always making fun. Now you are my office mate. So
well, see, that's good. Was Audra still working this whole
No,
time?
no,
And what?
she could not
Okay.
work. She could not
So
commit to
when did she stop working?
right after the accident.
Oh, okay.
So
Thank you. And I don't. I want to circle back to something because I don't want to minimize
mm,
the level of confidence and struggle we have when we're dealing with a sickness.
mm,
And people go, well, why don't you behave like XYZ like you used to? What, and I see your face. What
mm.
would you tell someone that they don't understand about someone that is going through what Audra was doing?
Being extremely supportive and being patient, those are the two main pillars, I would say.
Okay.
And I cannot say put yourself in their situation because you cannot even imagine what they are going through. So I know that the amount of pain that she went through was something that I cannot even comprehend, probably.
Thank you for sharing that
So
because things look different from the outside looking in.
yeah, because it's again, it's like then if you cannot really function well, you cannot force someone to be what they are not. So it was hard because we were young. I mean, and
Oh,
she,
right. And you're
yeah,
thinking you got all this in front of you. You guys have, you meet young in Barcelona, and now life has taken a huge pivot.
yeah,
What made you not walk away, say, this is not what I signed up for?
no,
I want something different. What made you say, I'm here for you in this?
sickness and health.
Those words
And
meant something to you.
no, they mean, yeah, they mean everything. I'm extremely loyal, and I I would not be I would feel horrible doing that to her, and there was no reason for just to start. You love the person, you don't love that they have the fancy situation. So that's what I said also, that long distance relationship, hard times, lot of nights at the hospital, that made our relationship much stronger.
It was the buildup for that love of commitment that was before you.
Exactly. So I always think that the people who have what I call this Instagram couples, they might they might look happy, they might look that they have amazing life, but if their life takes the wrong
Mm.
turn as ours did, I don't know if they are gonna be able to be for each other. So
That's a lot to consider. And just when you're building a relationship, that level of these are not just lofty words that we say. You want to be prepared to carry those out because, in my mind, being a widow or widower is the goal when we get married, that we have
mm,
someone that will
that's true.
stick with us through the good and the
Mm,
difficult parts of life, not someone that's fleeting. It doesn't seem like when we're having this wedding, everybody's joyous, but the goal is to be there for the whole game. The whole
exactly.
game. Yes.
Exactly. No, I never thought in that way, that marrying is like expecting one of or the other is gonna be the widow. Never thought about that. It's a
And
good point.
and that also goes to why I have these conversations. We don't think about, I mean, we say those words and it sounds kind of picturesque, but that is an inevitability of our livelihood.
Hmm.
That one of us, 50-50 odds, are going to be a widower. But people that are widowed, it feels like society tries to hush us off to the side or
Hmm.
make it seem like we don't count. I feel like we need a trophy. Like we should be honored. Like, sorry for the people that didn't have a good marriage, because I know there are some situations where you are in domestic violence or even SA is being married. And under those circumstances, I do not recommend people stay someplace where they are being harmed for the
Yeah.
sake of having I stayed married. Seek safety and your own well being
Mm.
because you cannot control another person. But
Yeah.
what you can do is deal with your own safety.
Yeah. What I would add to that is, like, when people ask what does it feel to be a widower, and then I
Mm,
say, "You love your wife?" Yes, I do. Imagine being forced to divorce her and not seeing her anymore. That's
okay.
what widower or widow feels like.
The
That you are forced to, you are put into a force situation that you don't plan or want.
Can I ask? I agree with that. In 2020, I'm sorry, timeline of moving to Ohio
Hmm.
to the time Audra left this world. Is there any part of that you're willing to explain what that looked like from your perspective?
I would like not to jump back to 2015.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Let me say it differently.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Because
Whatever part of that story to come to her transition from this
yeah,
world, how you
because
like to share it.
yeah, because it will make more sense what I'm gonna say
Okay.
if if I put things into context.
Oh,
What
okay.
I'm
Yes.
gonna say. So I mean, not all of our marriage was like being sick, being bedridden, going to hospitals. We had amazing good time, especially when we were in Europe. We traveled extensively around Germany, Spain. So that's something that I'm grateful that we had the chance to experience together. But I remember in one of these dinners, we were like having amazing good dinner in a restaurant in Germany, like outside out in the terrace, was beautiful weather. And then she suddenly asked me, we never talk about death. And then I say, well, I was scared. I say, what do you mean? Say, yes, I want to tell you that if I'm not in this world, I don't want you to be sad and alone. And I was like, wow, what's this? And I told her, no, I think the same for you. If I'm not here, I don't want you to be just alone and not rebuild your life. I don't want that. I don't want that for you either. And that was something that back in 2015 was she had already had the accident, but again, it's something that you don't expect that it's gonna end up that bad. Sometimes I think maybe she already thought that that was something that potentially could end the way it ended. So that was like something that okay, that's so weird. So that was a very hard moment of realization that yeah, this can be real. We never talk when we are happy together. We never talk about death, but we have to. It's something that is hard to understand, but we really need to talk about that because it's what you say when you marry. You expect that it's a 50-50 chance that one or the other is going to be the widow or widower, but I didn't think about it in that way. So that was in 2015. 2020 she was her health was not doing good. She spent a lot of time in bed, not feeling good. But there were moments that she could have a much more functional life. And within all the COVID restrictions, we would just go around our neighborhood to walk the dogs, go to the parks. We would just even drive and spend some time by the creek or just being in social distancing, having breakfast in some place, so like the old time. So there were very good moments in that year in Ohio.
Mm.
So she passed in January 2021, 10 days after her birthday. So I remember those last days. Now when I look back, I want to give it maybe a different meaning. I give it like a goodbye week without even knowing that. So her birthday was 10 days before. So I gave her as a gift, I gave her a session to go to a spa,
Ooh.
for a face treatment. And also I gave her another gift card for another spa that we have not far from home. That was one of these places that they put you like in a chamber with water and with music, whatever. She always wanted to do that. And I said, okay, I'm gonna just get that. Was for
Wow.
as a gift. So we spent a lot of time together that week, like going. She was very active. We that week we went to the spa where she had her his facial done. And I remember she was so excited that I was waiting outside. It was COVID times. She tells me they are running this offer that I can pay $250 and I have I can come back here for the next I don't know how many times. And then I told her, please get it. It's on me. And she was super excited. I remember driving back home and she was like, thank you so much. What you do, it's amazing. You treat me like a queen. I told her, yeah, we are in the Queen City, Cincinnati. So now there is a meaning for the city to be called the Queen City. And she was laughing. She said, don't be that cheesy. She was laughing. We were just joking and that way back. And she told me, I remember that conversation coming back from there. She told me, I don't know if I was with someone else would have been that patient to go through all these years. And it was like weird that she told me that literally 1 week before. So maybe she was already feeling something that didn't tell me. And again, it's like I was not expecting that she would pass, but yeah, I was like I was scared of even facing that conversation with her when she said, "If I was not with you, I don't even know if I would be alive because I don't know if another person would have had this patient, would have provided, would have support." And I was like, say, yeah, I mean, of course. What do you, what do you? I mean, I told her, I'm sure you would have done the same for me. And she said, yeah, we are not even 40, and we have lived what a normal couple don't live till they are 85 or 90.
Mm.
So I remember that conversation driving back home. So what I also remember is that we had a fabulous dinner that I prepared, and it was a very good week too. Then I remember when she went to that to the other place. It was 2 days later for this uh, I don't know how to call it, this chamber with water and music, blah blah. She was super. Also, there was a sauna. She was super excited there. She even sent me a video that it was the last video that she sent me, and I didn't know that. So I treasure that video. I have like 40 copies of that video. I don't want to, in which she's just being goofy around in the saunas, checking the temperature and being there. And then I remember that when I asked her, I text her, how did it feel being there? And she told me, it feels peaceful. It feels like the way death I envision to feel. And I was like, she was always having this dark humor, always. And I was like, maybe you can find another definition. I don't know. And then she told me, yeah, when they opened the chamber, I felt I was being bored. Okay, let's say, okay,
Like,
let's
I
keep it
need
like
more.
this.
I need something better than that.
So I was like scared on that. Like, okay, so I remember she came back feeling super energized, and she said, "This needs to be our year. COVID is, I'm sure, is gonna end at some point soon, and you have a good job, and we are living in a nice house. This needs to be our year." And yep, and it was hard. I remember the day after that day, she went. She also made fun of me, like she used to do. She went to the eye doctor, and she tells me like very very in big letters, "My eyes are perfect, not like yours that you need." and, and,
You can't walk without tripping.
that, I didn't tell her that. I should have
You
told
missed
her.
that
Yeah, I miss it.
opportunity.
Yeah. No, because we were always making. She was always making fun of herself, saying, I'm 38, but my body feels if I was 90." But then
Oh,
her eyes
okay.
were perfect, so that was where it came. But she told me, "But my eyes are perfect," and then I say, "Okay, that's a good thing. Dude. At least you can
At least-
you don't need glasses for that." So yeah, that was on that Friday. She passed on a Tuesday. I remember it was the day after Martin Luther King Day, so it was a long weekend. And I remember that weekend, it started like a regular weekend that she went to the gas station to grab donuts for breakfast. I still remember that. We went to buy our weekly groceries. We went to Qdoba to have lunch and also get her gift, her birthday gift, a cookie or something. I don't remember exactly. And yeah, we came back home, and she was a bit like, "Oh, I feel my back is bothering me more than normal." So then she went to bed. She could not find the right posture, so she could not sleep for almost 2 nights, practically nothing. So then at the end on Martin Luther King Day, she finally said, "Okay, I'm so tired. I'm gonna just go to bed and sleep." And for her, it was normal to sleep for very, very long hours after being days with insomnia. So that was something normal for her. So she went to bed, and when I went at night to bed, she was complaining about her back pain a lot. And she said, "This must be my kidney." I said, "Should we go to the doctor? Should we go to the hospital?" She said, "It's okay. I'm just gonna sleep. I'm just gonna sleep." So I woke up for work. I was working from home back then, and I told her, "Good morning, baby." And she said, "Good morning." I said, "You okay?" She said, "I'm just sleeping. I love you." And that was that morning.
Mm,
Then I remember I was just working normal in office, and it was lunchtime, so I would just go to check on her in those days and ask her, "What do you want for lunch? Can I prepare? Can I get something?" And she asked me, "I just want a glass of water, or give me some water." So I gave her a bottle of water. She had the water, and then she started stop.
you were there when she transitioned?
Yeah, I called 911 immediately. I was seriously scared. The police show up in less than 3 minutes.
Mm,
It was rough. It was like literally in a matter of half hour, everything was
mm.
crumbled down. It was crazy. It
It
was like
really is.
such a crazy turn of events that looking back is looks like a movie. I have like some flashes of what happened. I remember putting our cats and dogs in one room. I remember the one other dog in the bathroom. They were barking when the paramedics were there. The police, a lot of people, they were barking out of control. Um, and I still remember when the police came half hour later and told me, "I'm sorry to tell you." But
Mm. Thank you for being able to share that with us. And it's something we remember, but when we have to talk about it, it elicits different emotions and it just brings to different things. So I know the sharing of that cost to
it's
be
not
able
easy.
to do that. And so I want to say thank you. I want to share a couple of things to give you a moment to catch your breath, if I may. That
Mm,
was a lot of sharing. The idea of the death conversation in 2015. My late husband had a lot of cardiac issues in his family. He had a cousin that died in his 30s on Thanksgiving Day.
mm,
A lot of people in his family left this world from cardiac issues. And shortly after we were married, he started talking a lot about that reality,
mm,
the concept of he didn't think he was going to make it till 60. And like yourself, I was like, I don't want to talk about this. I do not want to have this conversation. But I learned it is so vital to have that conversation. It is, I cannot express the importance
mhm,
of talking about life after your partner is no longer here because it is inevitable. It's the way our world works. And to hear their audible desires for your life just intensified how much I knew he loved me. For him to be selfless and talk about my life when he no longer existed.
mm,
The preparation, if all possible, to leave that remaining spouse in a place of security.
mm,
I am so grateful that we talked about what my life would look like, what he wanted for me, and me sharing the same with him to talk about what it was like, just so many different things early in the marriage that when he did leave this world,
mm,
I knew what he wanted. I knew what he wanted for
mm,
me. I knew, and I didn't have to second guess. I didn't have
mm,
to what if. I didn't have to go, oh my gosh. And I understand everybody doesn't have the opportunity to have that conversation. But in hearing this, I encourage you to have that
Mhm,
conversation with your children, with your family members,
mhm,
have the conversation with your parents, because even though we may be uncomfortable talking about it is going to be so important to have that
mhm.
conversation in your memory banks when they transition, because now your mind is everywhere.
Yep.
You're scattered, your thought processes are
Mm.
uncertain, and to we show up how we practice. So if you've already had that conversation, the ability to go in to that mode is going to be easier than having to second guess yourself.
Yep.
What would you say to that?
No, that gives you peace of mind too, because it's. I know that some other widows or widowers they feel guilty to move on.
Yes.
They feel guilty, and that's a feeling that I don't have because I know that she would not want me to be sad and sitting in a corner and being sad all day. I know that. And also to add to the point, when she told me that you should that happens, she was a jokester. She even gave me indications of the type of girl I should be dating after
Oh,
her.
she went full. Okay.
She was a youngster. I was like, and she told me, yeah, but if I will not say that what she actually told me, but
I
she
want to
said
hear it after we're done recording. You're gonna tell me that. Oh, okay, we're gonna skip over the
anyway,
details. Yeah.
she told me some indication. She was a youngster. I said, "You are crazy."
But
that
what
you
is
are,
said in joke is also the truth. It just comes out a
yeah,
different way.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like sometimes with a joke you mean to say much
It takes
more.
the edge off. Like it's like you can, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So that I still remember when she told me, but probably that she needs to okay stop here.
Okay, so I want to circle back to something you just
Sorry.
said. What did that sadness look like for you? Yes, life may have eventually continued, but when that happens, that's the furthest thing from our mind. We are in
Mm.
this moment. And oftentimes men have to have this portrayal of strength and I'm not getting emotional and this isn't hurting me. But what was that reality for you?
The reality when it happens, what I remember is that feeling numb, feeling very numb. And also, I would like to add one more thing that happened that day. It was crazy. She loved birds. She loved having our backyard full of bird feeders, and she placed them all in a way that they would be facing my office so that I could see the birds eating while I was working. So there was this one that fell, and she asked me to hang, and I hang it, but was not facing my office. And she kept telling me, "You need to change it. You need to put it in the right way. You need to." And I said, "It's okay. It's January. There are not many birds anyway." So I still remember that that bird feeder fell and
Mm.
crashed at some point between when she passed. It was there hanging in the morning when I was working because I remember seeing that and thinking I need to change it. And then when I look again later on, the bird feeder was completely shattered, was broken.
What did that
I have
symbolize
felt.
for you?
I, I mean, I want to be like saying something funny. Knowing her, maybe it was like a middle finger to me saying, "You should have a place in that." I want to keep it as a joke from her. Like this is, you should have put it in the right way before when
Since
I
you
told you.
didn't, I'm
So,
slamming this before I
so,
go.
that's what I want to believe because she was a jokester.
Yes, I
Again,
love that
I
for
want to
you.
have that, and it's also a way to say, keep taking care of our birds. And even
Oh,
to this day, I live in a new house. I have the same bird feeders that she bought, and I have a couple of more them that she had on her Amazon list. So
okay. We need pictures of the bird feeders for the blog. We need pictures of those.
I
That
have,
means so much.
yeah.
Okay.
Even she taught me the way to attract hummingbirds.
Oh,
So and now it's successful. I haven't seen as many hummingbirds in
okay.
my life. So
Wow.
there's still it's like a way for it's a way that she lives on. When I
Yes.
see the bird feeders, I see the birds. I think of her. When I
Yes.
see the animals, I think of her. So it's the legacy. I would say it's a way to see. So I don't know. I'm not a religious person. When that happens, you try to find a meaning to everything. You try to see her everywhere, and then you realize that many of the habits that you have or things that you do are because of her. It's basically a reflection of what you've been doing with her. So many times I thought, what would she be doing now? What would she decide? What And you see that you are in that situation many times. Even in my grief, I was thinking many times, what would she tell me right now? And then I would say the serious or the jokester one. Sometimes I would go for a jokester, and most of the times for the serious one. But yeah, the moment after the sadness, the grief, it's weird because also I didn't have any family, any friends in, in here. The only people I knew were my people from my work. So I still remember sending a message to my manager back then and say, Audra is not. I had to call the paramedics. They are home, and then he replied immediately, "If you need help to take care of the animals or you need to be in the hospital, let me know." And then when she passed, I of course I forgot about the phone. I don't want to check on that. And then I saw another message. Can you? How are you doing? How? And then I replied, she passed. The first thing that he did was, okay, I'm going to your house right now. So my manager came to my house and he told me, we are gonna be here for you. Um, we are gonna take care of you, and please don't feel sad of reaching out. He even invited me to spend the night in his house if I wanted, which I say no because of the animals. I didn't want to have the dogs there alone. So it was like, yeah, it was weird. That day was strange. Breaking the news to family, to friends was weird. I don't remember some of the calls. I don't remember some of the messages. It's like numb. It's like feels foggy. One thing I remember is when my manager left, he spent like 6 hours with me. So I'm extremely thankful to him. Even he told me that if along down the road I want to be relocated to other offices in Europe from our company, he would advocate for me. And then I said, I don't know now what I want to do with my life. So, but thank you for the offer.
Wow.
The spoiler alert: I stay here. So yeah, one thing I remember is when I when he left and I went to our room to see all the mess that was there. So all the different it was full of open boxes, and the bed was moved. It was like if someone had broken into our house. It was like sad, and I still remember the smell of the room
Mm.
for some reason. I don't know what they use, the paramedics, but I still remember that. And for me, it was like was one of the most surreal experiences in my life to clean that room after they left the paramedics. So I don't know if it. I'm sure if there is anyone in the audience that is a paramedic and takes care of these situations. I mean, I understand that their job is not cleaning, but it was very heartbreaking to see that. It was like the realization that yeah, that's
This is what you're left with.
yeah, it's gonna be your life now. And I
But
still remember that moment. That was like a big moment of sadness and realization.
the way you portrayed that, and thank you for sharing, death broke into your house and wreaked havoc on everything. And we are left, to some sense or another, continuing cleaning up or dealing with how grief has come into our life.
Exactly.
When you heard the word grief before Audra passed, what did that word mean to you, grief?
I didn't comprehend. My life has been pretty stable to that point. I had lost my grandparents just because of age and one aunt. That was all. I had to grieve, which is of course, but it's like older people that they haven't lived their lives, but not for someone
Now you hear the
that
word
young.
grief. What does that look like for you?
It looks like a, I don't know how to call it. It's maybe because of my experience, it's like inner reflection.
Mm.
Like because again, I was in a place that I didn't know anyone, in away from my family, COVID times, traveling restrictions. So it was a lot of being introspective. So I realized that some people, I understand why some people cannot make it. You need to be very mentally strong. You need to be very strong mentally to face this in no matter the situation. If you are alone or you are having family there. So it was a lot of introspection and lot of there are many things that I don't remember. I became super forgetful suddenly. It's like my brain was shutting off some memories, many things that I don't remember. Sometimes I look back in my emails from work, and is when I find that, oh, this, I don't remember sending this email to this person. I don't remember working in this project. I don't remember. So one thing I have to say is that my manager told me, take come back to work in your own pace and take work as a therapy. So you are important. You are the most important here. The company is not important. So you just grieve whatever you how you need, and take long walks if you need. Take your dogs out for walks, and that was amazing. So that's something that I'm extremely thankful to all my co-workers. They were there. They would come to my house to have dinner with me, give me company, or drop some food, or ask me if, when restaurants started to reopen, you want to have dinner here, you want to have lunch here, come to my house. So I can say that that really unveiled the best of these people that I'm lucky and fortunate enough to work with.
Thank you. If someone you bumped into them at the gas station and you just start chatting for whatever reason, sometimes we just click with people and they share with you that my spouse passed a month ago and I don't want to connect with anyone. I just want to be home alone. What would you think your response would be to them?
Don't do it. Don't shelter yourself. Try open. And I tell that by experience. I was forced to shelter because of the COVID restrictions. And I still remember that winter was like very cold, and there was icy rain and snow. And I remember the first weekend when everyone had left town after the funeral, and I was alone. I remember that weekend was like frozen rain. I could not even go out. I felt that the house was like a, I said, I cannot make it. I need to go out and I can't. So that was hard. So what I would say is like, go out, be healthy, don't do anything stupid that would be against you or your late partner. And yeah, keep the memories alive,
Hmm.
and don't be shy to share this and talk, because that's another thing. I was the first one feeling like this. I still remember uh, when again they were opening the all the restrictions, just going to some happy hour with people from my company, and some people didn't know me, and they would ask. And the moment that you say, yeah, I just lost my spouse, it's like the party's over.
All the air is sucked right
Yeah,
out of the room.
exactly. And even my group of friends, we have like a chat on WhatsApp. They stop making jokes suddenly, and I told them. Then I remember sending like a very very bad joke to them, just to prove that, yeah,
Still laugh.
we need a laugh. We need this this is a very, I made this word up. This is a situation,
Hmm.
but but we need to move on, but without forgetting where we come from.
That is so well said because I think for someone who is supporting someone that is grieving and they feel like they're walking on eggshells and don't know what to do, what would you share or encourage them from your perspective?
I used to say, some people would tell me, when that happens, they would call me and say, I don't know what to say. I say, I'm glad that you don't know what to say. I'm really glad. I was like you last week, so I totally understand. So the best you can say is just I'm sorry, and
Mm,
hopefully you will never understand what this is about. One of my co-workers actually had a similar experience when he was younger. His wife passed when he was 35. He became a very very strong pillar.
mm,
So
wow.
he was like the. He told me, I still remember in the funeral. He came to the funeral and say, "Welcome to the club where that anyone wants to sign up." He said that.
Yes.
I know he's a very jokester, and we
You
talk a
needed
lot.
that.
Yeah, we talk a lot, and also her in her funeral, we decided to make it like a be like a something fun. I started the funeral saying, as Audra used to say, you cannot spell funeral without fun. And
Oh, wow.
she used to say
Wow.
that too. She was really a lot into that humor, so that said already the
You set
mood.
the tone for it. Yeah.
I remember her friends giving like sharing funny stories about her, people laughing, and the sisters also sharing like fun stories. I remember at the end the funeral manager come to me say, I don't mean to be weird, but this was the funniest funeral I've seen. They say, okay, so then we accomplished what we wanted
Yeah, she did it.
because it's what she would have wanted, something that
Wow.
everyone being funny and playing her favorite music. So I even asked her, can we play 50 Cent? Can we play Tupac? I said, of course, it's her day. And I remember her friends were laughing, say only in Abra's funeral you can listen to this music. I said, yeah, I try
Wow.
to
That's
make it
beautiful.
her way. So
Wow.
that's at the end of the day. So it needs to be done in their way.
That is, I'm so glad you shared that with us because laughter is medicine for the soul to be able to
I agree.
continue living and doing that. You made
I,
mention of the fog that you were operating in mentally from being a chemical engineer, highly functional. What did that feel like for you? And did you know that was a normal part of grief to be in that type of fog?
yeah, I learned a bit later because I was reading, of course, but I didn't start therapy like after 5 months because I was scared. Maybe I was thinking maybe therapy is something that is gonna like put a mirror on me and it's gonna make me feel maximized. But I was wrong. I was not like that. But I was like scared of this. So the way it felt, it's like okay, that my brain is protecting me.
Yes.
My brain that is trying to numb situation, is trying to soothe everything. Also, one thing I remember of those days is that I would sleep for long, long, long hours.
It's
Like
exhausting grieving.
exactly, and it's like also my body was shutting down so that I could just spend time away from the reality. I would say I don't know.
So thank you. What did you find out about therapy versus what you thought it was going to be?
So I decided to start therapy on our wedding anniversary. That was a because that was in June. It was had 5 months had already passed, so that was like a one of these moments that down moments because you look back and say, wow, it's like 7 years ago we were celebrating our marriage, and now this is what it is. And I could not comprehend, and it was like, okay, I need to have someone, a professional, helping me, or just to have these conversations, or to see. And yeah, what I learned from these conversations is how to control my grief, not to feel guilty, not to feel bad while moving on, and to find everything normal, what was going on in my life, to be forgetful, to feel numb. That's normal. It's a part of grief.
I want to circle. Thank you. You said control your grief, and just for the language barrier, when
Yeah.
somebody hears the word control, it's like I'm not going to grieve, and
Ah,
I'm doing that. I think you mean more like managing or
exactly.
allowing it
Yeah, managing.
manage
Yeah,
or
yeah.
being accepting that I am
Exactly,
going to
exactly,
feel this way.
exactly, exactly.
Yes,
No, the therapist didn't tell me no, don't grieve. No, never. No,
right.
no. Sorry, no, I meant that like managing grief
Or coping skills or different things.
exactly coping
Yes.
skills, like trying to find my happy place, keep the memories, um, and just reflect on me and my past was very helpful on that. And I think that really prepared me for the next chapter in my life.
Thank you for explaining that, because when someone hears control, it's like it would have had a different connotation to it.
Yeah, no, no.
When you talk about memories, how long, or do you recall at what point you started remembering things like you were used to having, like your brain functionality, or remembering something? Because it seems like even as we're talking, you're remembering some things that you may have forgotten.
Yeah, that's why I'm coming back from. I say, oh, this happened, or this other. Yeah,
Right.
there it's like flashes. There are things that I remember very vividly. Other things that are like, wow, I don't even remember this was before, after, during, or it even happened. So it was like flashes of having like uh, like clarity,
Okay.
and other flashes of being numb and don't remember what you were doing, or
You
how
feel
you
like
were
you're
doing.
looking at your life from the outside. You're observing
Exactly.
your own life. Yes.
Exactly. So it's, yeah, it's strange. So what I would say to anyone who is following this podcast and is going through these early stages of grief is that that's normal. It's something that it's shocking, especially for someone that's as like rational as I am.
Yes.
It's okay to feel that way. There is nothing wrong. And another advice I would give is actually, no, it's actually coming back what you were saying, memories that were forgotten. My manager in Germany, he reached out to me also to give him his condolences and so on, and then he told me that his brother went through the same, which I didn't know. He told me my brother went through the same, and he decided to ignore grief. And 1 year later, he just crumbled. He needed like a very he needed serious help because he was 1 year delusional of what had happened. That no, I'm okay, I'm being stubborn. And 1 year later, he just crumbled. And he told me, "Don't do that. Grief." That was the advice that he gave me. And
Wow.
yeah, again, it's like as I talk, I remember these things.
And that was some beautiful advice that he gave you, because from my perspective and hundreds of people I speak to, people may try to dodge grief or run from it, but it will patiently wait
Yeah,
to, and when, I think a lot of times people are afraid of breaking and the crying, like they're going to lose themselves there. Like you may have thought that going to therapy would have made it worse, because we're taught not to talk about it.
yeah,
But the talking of it helps in our healing, it helps in
exactly,
honoring our person. So,
exactly.
so if you met someone in the grocery store and they said, I'm not going to therapy, that's for weaklings, I can do this on my own, I'll be fine, what would you tell them?
Therapy helps because it's, again, I would talk to my family, to her family. There was everything. Everyone was very supportive. We would grieve all together, but you grieve together, but you don't. Maybe you don't cope together.
The
So
same.
the way to cope, maybe you need someone from outside, someone that is neutral in that sense. I don't know how to call it,
Yeah,
but someone
non-biased, yeah.
who has a different point of view, that doesn't know you, doesn't know her, but knows what you are going through.
Yes.
So that's what I saw there. That family, we were all grieving. We were grieving a daughter. We were grieving a spouse. We were grieving a sister. We were grieving a daughter-in-law. We were grieving a friend. But a therapist helps you to put your feelings in order and to build up on your coping skills based on that grief. So I don't know. Without the therapist, I don't know. I mean, I think I would have made it, but maybe slower, more confused, not knowing exactly all the phases or how to really uh, understand many phases of my grievance.
Had you experienced being in therapy before your wife passed?
I had never been before.
Okay.
And also, what I can say is that my company paid for all the therapy sessions. They encouraged me. They told me whatever you need is there.
Thank
So
you.
that's
Because,
something I want to to mention.
right, but we want to appear that we're okay and everything is fine. And we are crushed. And it's okay to
Exactly.
acknowledge that.
Exactly, and it's again, it's not the some people feel social shaming maybe, but I don't know. It's you are going to a therapist. It's not that you are going to someone to read your the palm of your hand. It's that you are going to a professional that knows how your mental wellness can be achieved, knows your
Yes.
brain, knows how the faces knows. It's not that. I mean, I would tell people not to have feel that mental shame. It's the opposite. Those who are the strong ones are the ones who know when to reach for help. So there is no problem on that.
That is excellent. The strong ones know how to reach for help. I would agree. I would totally agree. You made mention of the conversation you and Audra had in 2015. You made mention of her, even in laughter, but giving you permission
Mm.
to continue living. Was it easy to continue living?
Of course not. Was not easy.
And I
But
think it's important to hear that because sometimes people just hang on to a word and they see where somebody's at now in their grief. I thought it felt like crawling through volcano lava
yeah,
on a regular basis.
I'm still grieving, and I think everyone who
Yes.
is in the situation we are still grieving. Sometimes appearing as I'm Spanish, so we are in our culture.
No.
We like to joke. We like to smile. Really, no, I was born in Ohio. I'm just taking my accent.
Yeah.
No. So one thing that we do is we like to joke. We like to laugh, and some people think that because you are laughing and joking means that you are forgetting. But what they don't realize is that maybe you are laughing and being goofy just to honor also that person.
Yeah.
And there is nothing wrong. That doesn't mean that because that's something again that some people feel that are grieving. They feel guilty when they have a good moment or when they have a good day. I would say no, don't feel guilty. That's actually the final goal of grieving, to be functional, to be happy, because the person you are grieving for would want you to be in this position, being happy,
So
being
it mm,
functional.
so if I hear you correctly, the possibility of laughing again, enjoying life is acceptable. That's the goal.
Yeah,
That's we to continue living again. And whatever that life looks
exactly.
like may be different, but give yourself permission to live and
Exactly.
continue.
It's like what I told you of my group of friends that not sending jokes anymore. It's like uh, that's not mean that I'm not gonna make fun or joke or live life.
So I see you wearing a wedding band. Is that the wedding band from Audra, or where is that in your life perspective now?
This is the wedding band from my current marriage, but I don't know if I can spoil anything for
No,
the
no,
future.
no. She
Okay,
was no. This is my
okay,
lead into that.
okay.
So the
It's a
wedding
sneak
band
peek.
that, yeah, yeah. So last week you guys listened to a conversation with Jessica. Jessica is his wife, and we're going to talk about with both of them together next week and have that conversation. So we're not going to talk about how that wedding band appeared, but I just want to also connect that conversation and where we're going. I have asked you a lot of questions and I appreciate your willingness to share. Is there anything that you thought or anticipated us going over or covering that we did not talk about?
No, I would like to add on the wedding band. I kept my wedding band till the day anniversary of our wedding, and maybe that was what really made me cramp, maybe feel bad because I took it off. But for me, it was important to keep it till our seventh anniversary.
Wow. And so,
So,
as you mentioned, wedding bands, this necklace This
Pretty.
is my late husband and
Mm,
our wedding band. The outer heart is his wedding band, and
mm,
then the inner heart is mine. I
it's pretty.
wanted when I took the wedding band off. Thank you. I'm not. You can see it, right?
Yeah, I can see.
When I took the wedding band off, and I looked at my finger, and I wore that ring for 29 years. We were together for 32, but I just felt like it was time to take it off, but I still wanted it close to me. And there was a widow at work, and so when I was talking to one of my girlfriends and I was telling her I took it off, she said, "You need to talk to this lady at work." And I was like, okay, widow talk at work. This is going to be great. And we met in the lunchroom, and she showed me her wedding band. She had done the same thing. And I
Mm,
think I went to just a local jeweler,
mm,
and I took oh, it was so hard to take them in and leave it with somebody. But when I see this, I see continual love,
mm,
and I can wear this without anyone asking me a question. I may decide to share.
mm.
These were our wedding bands, or I may not, and they just think it's a really nice piece of jewelry. Because I would see
Yeah.
people wear it like a ring on the necklace, and I felt like that would draw more attention than what I was prepared to
Yeah.
have. And this was just a really nice way for me.
No, that's a very nice way to remember your late spouse. Yeah, I keep my wedding band in the memory pot.
Nice,
Yeah, and that
nice.
was like very, very hard. I kept the wedding band next to hers and her ashes for a long time,
Mm,
but that was like making me feel even worse. Like
right.
it was sad. So
And we have to figure out how to manage belongings, and that's actually I'm gonna circle back the repurposing or having to deal with their belongings. What
mm.
do you remember of that part of your grief journey?
so going through her all her belongings was like very hard. So her sisters came to help me on that,
Mm,
but I could not even go through her makeup collection on clothes. So I asked them to please keep as much as you want. There were few items that I wanted to keep. For example, in the chair I'm sitting right now, there is a jacket. Was my jacket, but she used to get it all the time, all
you
the
gotta
time.
show us. You can't do us like that. Come on.
So oops, it's just a jacket that she would just used to go. It's just this jacket, and I keep it here on my chair.
It's just the
So
reality that these simple items mean so much, and no one would
that's Ali.
know
That's Ali.
unless you told us.
I'm gonna show something else even.
Okay, yes.
You can see the pocket watch in there.
Oh,
So
and the idea, I love that you said, I am so grieving. My grief may look different now than when she passed, but it's not like something is just over. We
mm,
just live with it differently, I would say.
it's Ali. So for me, just sitting when I'm working from home or right now chatting with you, sitting on the chair where there is a jacket that she loved. She literally told me, "I'm gonna steal it," and she did. She stole it from me. And when I found it in hanging out in our closet, there were still the masks from 2021, 2020,
Mm,
and I want to keep that in the pocket. The only exception is that I made for about this jacket. Sometimes I cover her dog with this jacket when he's cold,
oh,
and he's actually sitting next to me. He's now sleeping.
okay. Thank you for sharing that. Those are the things that give people permission to know they are not alone in this journey at all. And we don't forget about our loved ones.
Yeah, and again, like, what I want to say is that it's okay to have something like that for other people look random to keep as a memory. Some people keep a ring, some people keep a piece of jewelry, some people keep a some notes. For me, I mean, I have notes of, I have letters, I have all this, but I'm not gonna. I don't know. I don't have my desk. It's already messy enough to have even more stuff. But I felt that having this on the chair was a way to feel like embraced by her while I'm working.
Yes.
So
Wow, that is beautiful. Any questions of me?
not that come to my mind.
Okay.
I think we have covered already a lot. that we need to cover more things next week, but
Yes, we
that we
will.
can.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. And Widowhood, thank you. This is like our biggest series, and I am just so
Oh,
glad that they were both willing to share their journey in life. And next week we get to talk to both of them together.
thank you so
See you
much
next.
for this time.
Thank you. See you guys
Okay.
next week.
Thank you for spending another episode with Widowhood Real Talk. If you found the contents of today helpful, share the episode to anyone you know who may need it. Subscribe to the show and tune into Widowhood Real Talk each week. Then visit widowhood-realtalkwithtina.org to join the community and access additional resources. Remember, you are not alone in this journey.